Now, this is pretty interesting, this next little story, and this is really just a tweet. But if maybe you know the name, particularly if you've watched Fox, you might remember the name Adam Housley. He was a reporter or a anchorman for Fox News for many years, and apparently has left Fox News. And I have to say, I don't watch Fox myself, religiously or anything. I don't make a point really of watching cable news, so I couldn't tell you exactly who the lineup is on the channel. But apparently Adam Housley's left Fox. Now, what's so interesting was that he put out a tweet, and this is probably the type of tweet that you put out right before you no longer are heard from again, right? Because, remember what happened to Ben Swan,
right.
All those years ago?
Right.
4 or 5 years ago when
right.
he did the the Pizzagate story.
Right.
I'm stuck on coronavirus. The Pizzagate story, and then he was just off the air. He just, disappeared. Now, he's still out there. He's still around, apparently. But, you don't hear from him in the media anymore. And his segment that he used to do for that television station, that's off the air. So, you give the wrong kind of information out, and they will yank you off the air. That's happened to Judge Andrew Napolitano years ago with a speech that he gave on Fox Business, basically challenging all the assumptions that we all make in buying into this sort of government that we all support, which I thought was a very interesting segment. The What If segment, it's about a 5-minute speech he gave, and he was literally pulled off the air immediately after giving that speech on his program. So now here's what Adam Housley had to say, and this is his tweet. I just thought this was so fascinating. He said, "Before I left Fox, I was told the agencies, depending on which one, have someone at every major news outlet, either on payroll by choice or not. Makes sense whether you agree or not. It wasn't a surprise to me, but a surprise that someone admitted it to me." So when he's talking about the agencies, he's talking about the State Department, the Department of Defense, the CIA, the FBI, maybe even the NSA. And he's saying these groups have agents. They have people at every major news outlet by choice or not. So whether the news outlet wants them there or not, they embed people into the news outlet, both to report back to the agency about what's going on at that news outlet, what stories are they looking into, what are they investigating, what are they reporting on, also probably to influence those stories.
Proofreading?
Yeah, well, going through and saying, maybe we need to think about it this way instead, and sort of seeding in the agency's perspective into the news. Now, this has been going on for decades. If you want to look into this some more, you want to look up something called Operation Mockingbird, which is the CIA's program of seeding in CIA representatives into news organizations throughout the country so that they can control the narrative and report back on what's being investigated as well. And you can find all kinds of interesting little connections, and we've talked a little bit about some of them before, but for instance, Anderson Cooper. We all know him as an anchor on CNN. Well, did you know that he was also an intern at the CIA at one point? Now, is he part of their Project Mockingbird? We don't know, but it's certainly possible. It's certainly possible that he could be there as a representative of the agency, whether openly representing the agency or doing it covertly and just bringing the agency's perspective covertly. Now, we don't know for sure that's what's going on, but a lot of people suspect that. And when you look at some of Anderson Cooper's style of reporting and propagandizing, it sure makes you wonder. But, when you're looking to try to answer the question of why the media doesn't report on certain stories and why it doesn't report on them in certain ways, maybe that's something we should look into. The fact that the media has been completely seeded with agents from our various intelligence agencies, and maybe they're not there just to try to get to the truth and tell the people the truth. And we've got a bunch of stories that reflect that, right? Because we've got just think about the Russia conspiracy that for 3 years the media told us was a done deal. It was for sure. It was just a matter of uncovering the evidence. And we heard from the politicians, and they said, we've seen the evidence. we can't share it all with you because national security, and we have to protect our national security, so we couldn't possibly share it with you right now. But trust us, we've seen it. And what's come out now with some of the declassification is that everybody knew. The media knew. Everybody knew what the real basis of this was, and that it was not based on anything legitimate. Remember, the FISA warrant was leaked. The application for the FISA warrant was leaked to the press by James Wolf from the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. He was the chief of staff for that committee, and he leaked it to his girlfriend. Now, this is a guy in his mid-50s. Look, there's nothing wrong with this just conceptually, except for that I think he was married, and, that's an issue. But, okay, leaving aside that issue of morality, mid-50s guy and his mid-20-year-old girlfriend, the reporter Allie Watkins. And he leaked her. I mean, this is a felony. This is the leaking of classified information. They've got him dead to rights. We know exactly what he did. But what else does that tell you beyond that? Remember, he got a sweetheart deal. He pleaded to, I think, 1 count of lying to federal investigators. And the reason they did that was because he was threatening to call in the senators as witnesses in his defense. And what do you think his defense was going to be? His defense was going to be, and it's probably the truth, you told me to do this, Mark Warner. You told me to leak this FISA application to the media to try to control the narrative, right? That's what they've been doing. That's what the FBI has been doing, all these illegal leaks. It's all about controlling the media narrative, not getting to the truth, not investigating something and getting to the bottom of it, but controlling the media narrative. And they've done it very effectively because for 3 years, I mean, what they've got is they've got a complicit media. They've got a media who says, what do you want us to tell the people, Mr. FBI? What do you want us to tell the people, Mr. CIA? You tell us what you want us to tell them, and we'll parrot it. We'll tell them, and we'll sell it. We'll sell it for you. And that's what they've been doing. And they've been doing it for all these years. So they knew early on from the leak of that FISA application that it was only based on the Steele dossier. They knew that was the entire basis of it. But they told us, well, Director Comey says that was a part of it, but not the entirety of it, that they had other substantial evidence. Remember that? Well, they didn't. They didn't.
How much money wasted, too?
Tens of millions just on the Mueller investigation. And, of course, the Mueller investigation was the follow-on investigation to the actual FBI investigation, Crossfire Hurricane, that started back in July of 2016. I've got to think, probably close to $100 million, I'm guessing, has been spent on all these investigations. That's just a round guess. I mean, we don't know exactly, but then you had the whole impeachment thing, which kind of came in a different angle, came with the Ukraine gate. Again, the media should have known or knew that was false. They knew about Eric Charmrella, who was the whistleblower. We don't hear anything about him anymore. They never did an investigation. Remember how the media was complicit in never mentioning his name or allowing it to be mentioned on the air? I remember Molly Hemingway of The Federalist mentioning it on Fox News, and everybody was aghast. The host even said, you can't say that. How could you do that? How can you out the whistleblower? Well, who knew he's the whistleblower? I thought that was a secret. How do you know he's the whistleblower? Because everybody knew he was the whistleblower. They're just keeping it from us. So he's already been outed. It's no secret. The D.C. elites knew about it. They just weren't passing along the information to us. Why? Because he was a partisan hack, and it looked really bad.
Do you think one day that if they want these people to do something for them again, they can use them again whichever way they want? And
absolutely.
And say, if you don't, we'll go forward and tell what you did originally.
That's their game, isn't it? When you work with these people, you wind up compromising yourself in one way or another, and then they've really got you. And they'll use you over and over and over again. And as long as you do what they say, things will be good. They prefer the carrot over the stick. I've noticed that pattern. They do. As long as you'll take the carrot, whatever money or, hey, we're going to leak intelligence to you, so you run the stories the way we want you to run them, and you'll keep being a top-flight reporter because you've got all these sources. And, you just run these stories that we want you to run, and your paper's going to love you because you're bringing news to the public. But it's not really news. It's really propaganda. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.